I'm skeptical about this next call. The notes say atheism made me racist.
Uh-oh. Oh, and he's from Earth.
So let's put...
So I'm going to put it on.
Okay.
Smokey, you are on air with Jenna, Don, and Eric. What's going on? What's going on?
Wow, I'm like so thrilled to be through. First off, Jenna, I gotta say, I love how you read the thing. Like the disclaimer was implied. I love that.
Awesome.
Jenna and Don, you guys are awesome. Eric,
yeah, he is.
I've not seen you, but I've been enjoying this call.
Awesome.
Eric is a special guest today.
Awesome.
I'm not that awesome.
Oh yeah. Very rare that I get to see three people and Jenna in the big chair. Like this is like I'm stoked right now.
She's doing so good.
Thank you so much. What's going on today?
Okay, so the tagline was kind of clickbaity, but
just a little.
But it's
Yeah, I get that.
You made her click.
Yeah, but it's accurate, and I felt that it was you know how people say oh, it's a calling or it's ordained or some other mess like that, right?
Okay.
For an act that they do, I felt compelled to call in and say some things, right?
The devil made me do it.
Yeah. In a manner of speaking.
So the shifting of responsibility is what you're talking about.
No, not necessarily. Well, yes and no, both of those.
Okay.
Things.
Okay.
The shifting of and then the accepting of. So, I know that the atheist position is that there is no concrete confirm or deny that there is a God. It's
Correct.
like no evidence. You got to show me something before I say yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys would agree with that more or less?
We know of no evidence for a God, and so we are disbelieving in that sense.
Okay. Well.
Or
Okay.
no serious evidence. How about that?
Well, yeah, I'm with that, and I would concede with that, and that's how I feel. But what I think is a different matter. I would kind of go off the rails a little bit and say that I would have to. I'm one of those like I'm a step beyond just saying, oh yeah, I don't believe. I'm saying like based on what I've like studied about history, I would assert that the Abrahamic Judeo-Christian God is absolutely fake, without a doubt. Like,
Can you prove that?
Absolutely. Can any of you guys tell me what year it is?
Yes.
Depends on which calendar we're talking about.
That's the answer. I can't see you guys, so I don't know who said that one. But yeah,
did.
that's the answer.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, Eric. Yeah. Eric.
You know,
Love you already.
Measurement is arbitrary, right? Based on some fixed point.
But I can give you an answer. Well, I don't know where you're going with this.
Let's. We got a lot of other folks on the line. Let's.
Well, sure. Jenna, where am I going with this, more or less?
Oh,
Yeah.
Smokey, are we?
Okay.
You tell us,
okay.
please.
Yeah, because it's like a really dense subject. I would like to. I believe that.
Well, hold on. If you have a really dense subject and you just really need to talk some stuff out, then maybe call Recovering from Religion or
hop on the Discord.
But if you have something like specific to bring up.
I'll make it relatively quick.
Okay.
It'll divert a little bit, but I'll try to make it as quick as can, but you know.
Sure thing.
I think Christianity specifically promotes misogyny and white supremacy, man. And
but does that mean that there's no God?
Yeah, I mean we don't like Christianity either, and certainly I've done a lot of shows, you know, knocking Christianity off its pedestal, but I don't believe I can prove that the Christian God doesn't exist, right? Because it's hard to prove a universal negative. I mean, there could be a God under a rock on the other side of the universe, and I'd never know it. And I'd never be able to disprove it.
Did you say he was trying to prove God?
He said he can.
He can prove
but
God.
I can't prove that Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Right.
Well, see, I would look at it like this. If you create something, let's say whatever. If there's a thing that is created, and that word "created" is important, I would think that it remains necessary so long as the inspiration for whatever created it remains. So, like an example, if it's raining and I don't want to get wet and I'm making an umbrella, I'm going to need that umbrella for as long as it's likely to rain. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
an umbrella, not the.
But what? I'm trying to follow you. Keep going.
Okay. So to keep going, biologically, with evolution making sense because things do change over time. We can look at that in our daily lives and see this one thing started as this, and as it became, as certain needs for that thing to become better came along, then it was made better by its surroundings or however.
Okay.
But evolution has a very specific meaning with regard to life. But you can, use analogies for things that people make, and you have to be careful there because you're dealing with an analogy, and not everything transfers over exactly.
And evolution is not making things better. It has no end goal.
Well, no, I understand science enough to get that. Okay. It's not. I'm not saying that it's like a top down. I'm tinkering with this to improve it, but it's more like this, this random change. Oh yeah, that works. I'm gonna keep it. Oh, this change. Oh yeah, I'll keep it. That's just more, just like me building a case. Like I said, I'm trying to make it quick. So with religion, I think that, and I looked up the definition because I think a lot of people spend a lot of time arguing definitions when it's really not that deep. So I looked up. Anytime I'm interested in a word, I look it up. So I looked up the word religion, and the etymology. I think it came from Italian or I don't know, Latin or something. Religare, to bind, and you can interpret that a couple of different ways. The more sinister way kind of fits the reason why I called. So kind of lean that way. But to bind, you can say it was to bind or to hold back. So either to control or, which is the more sinister, or to group. So it's a grouping or a method of controlling people, right? Because in the environment from which the proto-Jews, or whatever you want to call it, the people that became the people that wrote the Bible. Like it was rough back in those days. So you have to have some type of hope to look forward.
But that's the thing is, they could have created this story for survival, for evolutionary purposes, because maybe giving us something to believe in and hold on to, maybe that got us where we are today. But maybe we've evolved enough where we don't need that anymore. And maybe we're wrong. That's the thing is we don't know. But ultimately, we can't say that because there's stories created today and that we can't prove these stories wrong. We also can't prove them just because they're older. We can't prove that the Bible wasn't written by God. We just can say that, hey, I have paper, I have books, I have people that write books. This is much more likely that people wrote it, but I can't say for sure. I can't say that I know that Peter Pan wasn't based on a true story. I can just say that based off of what I've seen and what I know, I don't believe it.
Well, we can make stronger statements. I mean, we have no evidence of the supernatural, which a lot of the biblical claims are supernatural in nature, right?
Right. I guess that's what I'm trying to say when I say that that all I have is paper and books. Like that, all I have is what's tangible, what I can experience, what I can prove.
And honestly, I wouldn't even want to make the claim that there is no God, because the folks who are claiming there is a God, they're the ones who need to back up and bring the proof to the table.
Exactly, like Matt would say, you're putting the burden of proof on you.
Right, and so it's a line of argumentation, or it's a line of that really bears no fruit or has no interest in me really at all.
Right,
something I wouldn't really want to pursue personally, as proving there is no God.
Well, I believe that, and I'm glad you guys said that, because that kind of helps me Well, obviously not tied all together on one call because, like I said, it is a pretty dense subject. But on that end, I was only referring to the Abrahamic God. God, quotation marks,
sure,
exists. You know what I mean? Like
so,
the first God.
There's a lot of variation there, right?
But,
I'm curious, did atheism
not,
actually make you racist?
Yeah, I want to know that. Answer that question.
Yeah, like I said, well, that's why I asked you guys what year is it? Like these. Okay, so the modern year and like the
2019.
Right. Well, the most current calendar that we've adopted, and the mandation of Christianity throughout Europe, and that being spread by force for what?
Are you suggesting our calendar is racist?
No. Okay. I'm saying that the calendar is based upon a religion. It's based on religious texts.
Yeah.
So I'm curious why you're racist.
That's right.
I'm
sorry. Okay, I'll let you go. Go ahead.
And the next thing I say.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's right.
You got to come through that clickbait, man.
Oh yeah, I got you. I swear on everything. I got you, guys. So everything that we base our modern everything upon is based upon an arbitrary thing that has been proven by history, and it's not like a secret knowledge anymore. It's very common knowledge that that's not even one of the oldest traditions. There are civilizations that were older than the Jews by tens of thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
There are structures in
Let's get to the racism.
There's Smokey here.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but a lot of your general audience may or may not notice that.
Yeah,
okay.
And hence the name. Yeah, the name fits. But just knowing all of that and being black in America and understanding that history and that much of the history of the world, but America, Africa, and black people and the people that were taken over here. And when you talk about people who have faith, African American people are like one of the most, you know what I mean? Like if you've ever heard like the memes, like, or any jokes like that, when they say black church lasts all day, that's only partially joking. Like,
I've heard a lot of African Americans say that it's as if they adopted the religion of the slave owners.
Yeah.
And are still slaves.
Slaves to that religion.
Slaves to the religion, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They might have been forced to. It might have been forced down their throats that this is the only way.
Well, yeah, that was true.
Because that's a good way to get control over them, is to teach them obedience and enforce all that.
But we've had Mandisa Thomas on our show a number of times, and she's talked about those sorts of topics.
The black non-believers.
Right.
So, but are you actually racist? Like, I understand that America was built on some bullshit. But are you, like, do you actually not like people are you racist?
Well, I was going to say, like, I'm glad you said the America on some BS thing. Because that's literally only the tippy top of the iceberg.
I completely agree.
But I don't hate anybody based upon, factors about themselves that they can't change. But when all of us think of Jesus, more likely than not, we picture a bearded white man with long hair and our
blue eyes and blonde hair, right?
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
So I can understand if you resent the history of white culture. But when you go out to the grocery store, are you making judgments that, hey, that person's white in the checkout line, so I'm going to go to this other counter? Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Well, see, I think it's more subtle than prejudice, right? It's more subtle than just prejudices or, those guys are bad, stay away from them.
Okay, so how do you define racist?
How do I define racist? I looked it up in the dictionary. That's a thing.
Good for you. Yeah.
And a lot of us don't read nowadays.
I agree.
That's not condescending or anything.
No, I agree.
Just a statement. But Dang, I almost lost my point.
Sorry.
That's it's like a very subtle psychological thing. Like, I'll put it to you this way. Say that somebody comes up, say somebody wearing the hat, a certain hat, just picture a hat, doesn't matter.
Hey.
Comes up and punches you in the face as hard as they can for no reason at all, right?
Say it's a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't exactly leaning that way. But
I'm just putting a hat to the hypothetical
But is that your point, though, that...
Well, I'm not... I mean, I got one more thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So a guy wearing a hat comes up and punches you as hard as he can for no reason at all. You did nothing to him, said nothing to him, didn't look his way, right? Then, somebody, then from that point on, right, when you're out, you see people that look like that guy wearing that hat, right? Mm-hmm. So it'd be wrong to assume that everyone is that guy, right?
Right.
But if you meet that guy wearing that hat, how would you know if he is or if he's
I think
not
I see your point.
Same guy.
To be fair, I mean, it's healthy to be aware that there are different cultures and there are different things to be aware of when you go to a neighborhood that's full of, one culture. But that's instinctual. That's natural to have a bad experience and then try, psychologically to understand, well, what was it about that experience that caused it to happen, and to have trauma from it, reactions from it, right?
Yeah, and being angry is totally valid. Being angry that person in the hat hit you is totally 100% valid. Now, how you deal with the anger and how it can manifest is definitely...
But getting back to the religion, I think that religion favors certain people, and those people, in turn, use that religion to stay in power and to entrench their beliefs and their culture and, railroad other people. And if you're outside of that, like the African American community or the atheists, you get trampled on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so do you think that if you were to get punched in the face absolutely randomly, that it would automatically have something to do with someone's religion or race, or do you just say, I don't know what happened?
Well, I'm from the hood, and we don't get sucker punched. I'm just saying.
Okay. Good.
Well, see, okay.
Wait,
that's
not good. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's try to put a bow on this, and so we can move on.
Yeah, I got you in my next statement. I was gonna say where that ties into it is, like I said, I don't hate anybody or anything like that, or feel anything like that, but it's hard to live, like, because I've lived and I've had, I've had plenty of white friends and white people to show me kindness. So I'm like, that's, any differences among us are bogus on that level.
Agreed.
But I think that faith has been used to keep us apart, and we're supposed to be together. There's not supposed to be a division between people on that line. Like,
Agreed.
We've outgrown the need for religion in that sense.
Yeah, right? That's why we have this show.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, and we're trying to build new communities, based on skepticism and the truth, and working together to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So, Smokey,
right. I absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm like, I absolutely want to live in a world where we can tell the truth about things, because I'm like, if this was a different type of show, like, we could scare each other with things that actually happened in history, like, because of somebody's faith. I've seen.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you ought to maybe reach out to a local community, because it sounds like that what you need is sort of to hash some of this stuff out.
So it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, if I might sum this up, you've come out of religion and you've looked around, and now you're coming to grips with your feelings that you have towards folks of a different race. Is that kind of what I'm hearing you say? Like you're wondering why you have these, or you're wondering how to deal with these feelings, or am I totally way out of left field.
No, I'm thinking he's saying the black community has been sucker punched by the religion.
And he's absolutely right.
No, I'm like that's like the symptom of the disease. I'm saying that and I know I'm going to sound crazy to some people right now when I'm saying that there is a true conspiracy, man. Out there.
That's a conversation that's a long conversation.
You should come and join us for dinner.
Yeah, you should call back. And you know what? We have other shows. We've got Truth Wanted on Fridays. We've got Talk Heathen before this one. We've got Secular Sexuality on Thursdays. So if you have questions, feel free to call this show, call other shows. But we're going to move on.
Can I say one more thing? And I want to say one more thing.
If it's quick.
I just want, when I say conspiracy, I just want people to, when I say that, I want people to think. When you hear the word conspiracy, like think.
Cool.
Or anything, think. What is this what could this person possibly want?
All right, you planted a seed, Smokey. Thank you.
That's all I was trying to do. Thank you.